Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Chrissy Hodges. I'm an advocate for OCD, in particular Pure OCD, which is the community name for individuals who live with intrusive thoughts and mental rituals. My memoir is also titled Pure OCD, The Invisible Side of Obsessive Compulsive Disorder. I am a certified peer support specialist working with people worldwide, providing support as people are working toward recovery and in any stage of recovery. I can also provide referrals for therapists. Check out all the things that I can do to help support you at chrissyhodges.com. NoCD is an app. Inside their app, you can find resources. You can connect with individuals who have OCD. And they also provide ERP telehealth all over the world. So to find out more about them and their services, go to treatmyocd.com. So today I wanted to talk about something that I've been wanting to do a video on for a while, and I'm sure you can know that this is a sensitive topic that can, obviously get misconstrued if you're not listening to the message. So I just wanted to preface with, this video is not about the validity or non-validity of the Me Too movement. It has nothing to do with that. This is just talking about how that movement and when things came about years ago and continue to go on, when we hear things in the news, how that can really impact individuals who are living with OCD. You don't hear a lot about this, so I think that when people are struggling with symptoms that come from stories that come out of the Me Too movement, or when, people, their whole lives would get canceled and this and this and that. I think that when people have struggled through that, they feel very alone. And the reason why is because people don't want to talk about this because they're scared that their message is going to get misconstrued. So I'm here to tell you, don't misconstrue my message. This is not about the Me Too movement in general. So, please don't take it that way. And if you do and you comment, I'm going to delete your comments. This is completely about how this has impacted individuals with OCD. So let's get right into it. The thing about the Me Too movement is all of a sudden there were a lot of stories coming out where there was non-consensual touching and sex and scenarios where people may have done something and it was getting brought back up in the future, like in the present, the things that had happened in the past. And a lot of people have lost their careers and they lose a lot of things because of things that have happened in the past. So how does this impact people with OCD? That may not seem like it would. Well, it does, especially when it comes to sexual intrusive thoughts, and it can even be harm intrusive thoughts or religious scrupulosity, things like that. But we're going to focus mostly on sexual intrusive thoughts. So how this can really impact people is individuals who would hear these stories, or maybe they would get triggered by, oh no, what if there is something that I did and I can't remember? What if it's something that I did, I can even specifically remember? Maybe you had sex with someone years and years ago, and now you're questioning whether or not it was consensual. Okay, so this is where OCD can come in and really skew things, okay? So people may question whether something was consensual, even though they know it was consensual. Does that make sense? No. But does OCD make sense? No. I mean, really, it is, the fear of rape is a big, big theme that isn't often talked about because it can get misconstrued that if you're talking about this means that it's okay to rape. Come on now. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, someone could have sex with someone consensually tonight, and it could be a great night. And then they could wake up the next morning, have sex again, or, be fine, and then go home and go, oh no, I'm worried it wasn't consensual. And then need this reassurance that it was. And of course, as we know, OCD, you're not going to be able to get that no matter how much a person can stand in front of you and say it was consensual. You may even doubt then. This is absolutely the equivalent of, I'm worried that the faucet is not off, and you're sitting there staring at the faucet and turning it all the way off. No water is coming out, but then you leave the house worried that the faucet was still on, even though you got the assurance that it was. This is how OCD works. So what happens what happens with people when they start to mentally review these things is that now you're starting to remember things differently. You're starting to, there could be false memories. There could, false memories meaning something did or didn't even happen. Real event OCD, something did happen, but, was it how you remembered it, or did it hurt someone and you don't know it? And is that going to come back in your life? And are you going to lose everything? So what are some of the compulsions that go on with this? Absolutely mental review. This is going to be probably your main one. You're going over and over this scenario in your head. This doesn't even have to be about having sex, rolling around with somebody, which is, just making out and stuff like that. This could be, maybe you're mentally reviewing something that happened at work. Oh my goodness, remember that time I was talking to so-and-so at their desk and I, maybe put my hand on their shoulder. Oh my goodness, they didn't ask me to. And what if that made them upset? And what if it felt like this or that? So you could mentally review just about anything and not be able to kind of reconcile in your brain whether or not you did or did not do something wrong, thinking, what if that comes back up now in the present and I'm going to have to face some consequences when I didn't even really know if it was wrong or not. So now I'm mentally reviewing anything and everything that could fall into that category. I'm reaching out to people, that, maybe exes or ex-coworkers or coworkers now, and seeing if they're still okay with me because maybe I did something wrong and I just don't know it. Seeing if they will accept my friend request. Maybe you're reaching out and saying, hey, you remember that time we went out on a date and I hugged you goodbye? Did I hug you too close? Did I offend you in any way? Did you feel uncomfortable in any way? So this can fall into almost any sort of category. It can fall in with family members. It can fall in with coworkers, friends, anything like that. And it really is tormenting because you're mentally reviewing over and over and over things that you just can't solve. And then that's when, exactly what I just said, then the next compulsion could be confession. Now, confession is a compulsion, and it's a very frustrating one because you can confess something and you can even get reassurance from someone. Maybe you reach out to an ex and said, I know we had sex a few times. I just wanted to make sure that everything was cool and kosher and that it was consensual and I didn't harm or hurt you in any way. You didn't feel like you were coerced into it. And that person might write back and be like, LOL, of course, because they're not understanding that what you're doing is looking for reassurance. Then all of a sudden you're like, why did they say LOL? So confession, people can't get enough reassurance with confession. That's the problem with the compulsion of confession, is that A, you're looking for something that usually is not going to be satisfied. It's like thirst that will never be quenched. And B, you're also like maybe confusing the other person, not that it's going to be a big deal, but they may just be like, why am I hearing from this person 5 years later, about this? So then it almost puts them in this uncomfortable situation of just like, okay, I don't really understand why this scenario is happening. And then of course we've got rumination, we've got avoidance. Now I'm going to start avoiding going out on dates. I'm going to avoid relationships, things like that, because I'm so scared I'm going to do something and it's going to come back to haunt me later in my life and I'm going to lose everything. So, I think, when I'm talking to people about this, and this is so common, and I just want you to know that it is male and female, because, the real fear is, what if I have done something that I can't remember? What if I have done something that was offensive and I didn't know it? And if you are presented in your head with that scenario, it could go down any sort of rabbit hole that's going to make you think, oh my God, when I was 13, I did this or that or whatever. And it could also be the opposite of this, right? It can also be, oh no, what if I had sex with that person 10 years ago and I didn't give consent? And does that mean that I was raped, or does that mean that I was coerced? So it can go the opposite direction of that too. Remembering that this video is not coercion is okay and rape is okay. Hello. Make sure that you know that that's not what I'm saying. This is all about the experience of trying to find certainty to put to rest the fears that something did or didn't happen that you can't remember, or you can remember and you just don't know how it was received. The point of doing this video is that you just don't hear a lot about this. And a lot of people, when I talk to them and I meet with them and they say, this was kind of all born out of the Me Too movement, they really feel like I have nobody to talk to about this because I'm so scared this is going to get misconstrued as, I've done something wrong, I've done something bad, and I'm trying to hide it. That's not what this is. Again, It's just this mental review of, have I always done everything okay? And I'm scared that I haven't, or I'm scared I can't remember something and it's going to come back. I'm going to lose everything. I'm going to be, and then there are going to be repercussions for something maybe I didn't even know that happened. So, one of the things I suggest to people sometimes if they're really struggling with the confession piece, the mental review piece, is, you hear stories coming out all the time of male and female, doing things that were non-consensual. We've got some big headlines right now of people that have done some really horrible things. And so when those stories come out and you're experiencing this, it's going to trigger that. It's going to have you start, oh my God, what if I've done this and this and this and this? Because look at this person going through the ringer now, and they're going to be brought to justice. People that have done really awful things, right? We tend to then start to compare ourselves to these stories, or those stories can trigger kind of that slew of compulsions that's going to come of needing to find out the truth. Because if that can happen to that person, even if I've not ever done anything, what if it happens to me? Or what if I did do something and I can't remember? So I always suggest, resist reading into those stories, resist going into the details. If you see those things, yes, you might get triggered, but the more you go down the rabbit hole and find things out, the more it's going to make you feel like, oh my God, like what if I've done this? And what if I am this horrible person? And what if blah, 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 blah. The other thing is, do your best to resist the confession piece. Mainly because it's, confession is rarely, or is not often, doesn't often, the anxiety subside with the actual confession. The confession then leads to the, are you sure? Are you remembering correctly? And then like analyzing maybe what something wrote back, or, needing someone to provide more details. And again, pulling someone into that compulsion can sometimes just be confusing. And, when it comes to confession, my go-to is always to say, what is the intention behind the confession? Who's looking to get benefited here? And it's usually the person doing the confession. And if that's the case and the other person isn't going to benefit in any way, it's just not worth it. And also it's just like any other compulsion, it's just going to continue to send you farther down that rabbit hole. Well, they said nothing happened, but what if I remind them of this? What if I this and this? So it just continues to go. So that's all I really wanted to say today. I didn't get too much into it. I'm sure that you got the gist of what I did say. Remembering if I didn't mention what you go through when it comes to this, all this stuff that's come out in these last few years, just know that, oops, there goes the light. Just know that, this is really common. And if you are experiencing this and you don't see a lot of it, that you're not alone with that. It's just that a lot of people are hesitant to talk about this because they're scared of how it's going to come across. And I think that anyone who's watching this video can see that my message has nothing to do with that, and more to do with, just how tough this seeing and hearing these stories can be on symptoms for OCD, and mentally reviewing things that you have done in your past and having a lot of fear about how that's going to impact your present and your future. So with that said, I'm really sorry if you are experiencing this, and there is help. So please reach out to get professional help in dealing with this. You can go to chrissyhodges.com to find out more about my services, and for NoCD, treatmyocd.com. And I will be seeing you next week from the UK. Bye.